can't believe it's that many years, and it's kind of interesting. I was thinking about it today. It's a lot like sports, where you have every year there's new people coming in, and if you don't keep your game sharp, those kids are going to push you out. Mm-hmm. So it's always been a challenge to like stay on top of everything and try to. As you get older, it's harder to keep up with technology, but you have to. And I've been trying to make more of a commitment to even do that, because if not, you're not going to survive in this business.
Welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. Join us as we chat, sip, banter, and wine with the best in the biz. Grab a glass of your favorite vino, sit back, relax, and let's wine together.
All right. Welcome, everybody. This is Emmanuel St. Germain. I'm your host for Stop Whining About Real Estate. I've got my cohort, Sarah Biernbaum, here with us, and we've got the famous Robert E. Kofsky, who is our rep for Flagstar Bank and has been for a very long time, also a close friend of ours and father to one of our loan officers, Adam Kofsky. Thank you, and welcome to the show, Rob.
Are we allowed to publicize that's my son, or is that on the QT, I thought?
No. The more the merrier. The Kofsky family is welcome in this company.
Fact.
Thanks. Well, how you doing?
We're doing very good. So Rob and Sarah share a little bit of history with being Philadelphia fans and experience. Contrary to my Bostonian heritage, some of us have a few more championships than others, but we welcome all sports fans. And if you haven't met Rob, or you don't know Rob as well as I do, he is a sports fanatic, and he can pretty much give us just about any quote there is and any stat there is regarding sports.
Well, it's fun, and basketball's dead to me right now. I'm more of a Phillies fan right now because we beat the Red Sox last night, as you know. So
I didn't pay attention. I've been preparing for our finals run that we're up 2-0 on at the moment. But so basketball's not dead to all of us. But yes, I do understand.
But Jerry West passed away, so I kind of think it's
basketball's over.
Aww.
Well, let's get into some of the actual mortgage stuff and some of the real estate stuff. Tell us a little bit about the early start of your career, because you've been doing this for a long time.
Oh, man, I just hit 40 years in the business.
Congratulations.
Which is hard to believe, because I remember when I started, I walked in for the interview, and there was a guy sitting in the front, and I said to him, "Can I make $25,000 a year doing this job?" And he looked at me and he says, "Rob, if you can't make $25,000 a year doing this job, you're not breathing." And I went and took the job, and I started as a loan officer for years at GMAC, which was originally Colonial Mortgage. And I did that for about 10 years before I started doing builder business. But I can't believe it's that many years, and it's kind of interesting. I was thinking about it today. It's a lot like sports, where you have every year there's new people coming in. And if you don't keep your game sharp, those kids are going to push you out. Mm-hmm. So it's always been a challenge to like stay on top of everything and try to. As you get older, it's harder to keep up with technology, but you have to. And I've been trying to make more of a commitment to even do that, because if not, you're not going to survive in this business.
Tell us a little bit about your role for our relationship since I've known you, which is I think since 2008, has been as a rep. And for the audience that doesn't know, what does a rep do for a bank like Flagstar? Tell us a little bit about the job itself and who your clients are and a little bit of the nature of that relationship.
Ours is a little different, because most companies along the way, you either were a broker rep, where you would call on mortgage brokers, or you would call on non-delegated, or you would call on delegated. And then there was another group that did bulk. For us, one of the great things I like about Flagstar is I could go to a broker, we've done this, and help them grow to be non-delegated, like you were non-delegated, and then you become delegated, and I can look out for what's best for the customer. Other reps are in a position where they'll lose the customer, whereas with us, we can grow their business. So the idea is to actually be a good consultant, is to look at what the customer's saying, try to give them some advice from your perspective, and pretty much be their friend at the same time as you're obviously trying to make money.
Sure, of course. So for anybody who doesn't know, there are four main levels of mortgages. You have being a mortgage broker. There's what's called a correspondent non-delegated, which is where the bank itself, you would send out a loan to be underwritten at a bank, such as at Flagstar. Then you also have what they call correspondent delegated, which is Flagstar may buy the loan from us, but we are taking additional risk in underwriting the loan. And then the fourth channel is the ultimate retail, the true bank, banking relationship. So for our company, we have the ability to do the first three, and it is in my 5-year horizon. I do want to buy an FDIC at some point. So I have my peeps on the lookout for a failing bank in anywhere USA that we can try and obtain. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because I had one customer who they actually called me on the phone, and they were upset because they were going to be selling everything bulk, and they knew that obviously when you get to that level, the margins are small to someone like me, and they were only worried about me, which was such a nice thing that the customer said. And I said, "You don't understand." I said, "I've made enough money from you from the last 10 years, and I'm cheering for you, and this is like the greatest thing that I see that you did this." And I think that's what separates not to toot my horn, a good salesperson, somebody who looks out for their customer.
It's a relationship.
I had somebody call me on the phone when they went to they sold their company and they merged with somebody else. And their rep said to them, "How could you do that to me?"
Right.
When it was in the best interest of the client to do that.
Tough.
You're supposed to thank the customer for what they did.
For the business.
So, just like you with the realtors.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a question for you. So in your 40 years, you've played multiple roles in the mortgage world. Which one was your favorite?
Loan officer.
Loan officer. Okay.
Why?
Yeah, because it was first of all, it was the most stressful because you wake up in the morning and the phone's ringing, and if you're good, you're not going to bed. You're doing your paperwork at 11. Well, back then it was paperwork.
Right.
11 o'clock at night. But it was so much fun to sit with buyers, especially when I did new construction, to sit with them and talk to them about their house. And then I did business with Toll Brothers before they had their own mortgage company, and I knew the houses because I would help the salespeople. I'd go into the model homes and help the salespeople sell the houses. So I'd sit with a buyer and I'd say, "Oh, you didn't buy the ABC option." And they would go, and I wasn't doing it to make more money. I did it because and they would thank me. Like, "Oh my God, we're so glad that you told us about that option." So that was the most fun, and I had the best relationships at that point with the salespeople because I would help them sell houses.
Having experience with builders, what would you say is a good suggestion or advice for a loan officer out there that might be listening in order for them to increase their builder business?
Well, it's no different than any other part of the business. You got to look out for the builder. Now, you can't be looking out for yourself and how you're going to get, how am I going to get more business? It's more, how can I help you sell more homes?
Move these properties.
Yeah, what can I do? Adam used to be in the car with me with his brother, and we would go to sample houses on the weekend. And if they were out of brochures in one community and they were selling the same house 20 minutes down the road, they'd be in the car as I was driving the brochures, because back then it wasn't like it is now with the internet. And we would drive the brochures to the next community. And then we'd see Bob Toll outside fixing the signs. And I couldn't believe that this multimillionaire was out fixing signs on a Sunday. But
that's pretty cool.
That's the commitment that you make when you're...
It's funny. It's it reminds me of there's just a different level of when you own something or it's yours. And I guess you don't have to be an owner, but when you have an immense amount of pride, if I walk into the office and there's a piece of trash on the ground, like I grab it. This is mine. This is important. I want to keep it clean. It's a representation of me as a person. And when you care that much about things, but you just treat it differently. But
this is the answer to say that. I remember Bob told me, rest in peace. He was great. I said, "What are you doing out here on a Sunday?" And he pointed to the sign. He says, "My name's on that sign."
Mm-hmm. He's 100% right, though.
Yeah. So, I think the lesson in that, if you don't mind me saying, is that I think everyone has to be a shareholder in the company. I don't mean they have to own it, but they have to have an incentive to see you do well. Because if they don't have an incentive, they're not going to pick up that piece of paper. Yeah. You got to make them have ownership.
Next time you want to say anything like that, you just tell Sarah earmuffs and she'll cover.
Sarah already picks up a piece of paper.
But you do hear the overwhelming theme there, because you've said it 2 or 3 times regarding different scenarios. But the bottom line is that the key to success that I'm hearing from you thus far is essentially always think about who your audience is and what's important to them prior to your own needs. And if you do that, you'll be successful.
Yeah, you take care of them.
I think it's just taking pride in it, right? You take pride in your relationships. You take pride in working on a Sunday and fixing the signs. You take pride in making sure that there's enough brochures at each place. If it's simply just punching in, punching out to collect a paycheck, that's fine, but it's something completely different when you're doing that. When you actually care about your name, the company name, the reputation, the relationships, that's when it shows, and it kind of bleeds through in everything that you do, and everything that you touch feels the same way about that.
People know when you're caring, when you're genuine. They know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Fast.
especially as a client, we are your client in that sense. And no, we know you care. And we know that, I can call you up and get information, get to the right person. And, hey, this is important to me. And you understand. So the beauty of it for me as well, and it goes back to the fact that you were a loan officer, the fact that you have been consumer-centric at some point of your career, you also understand the pressure that we're on. And this isn't us just needing something for the sake of needing it. There is a client there's a consumer on the other end that is scared, nervous, whatever it is. There's a real estate agent that feels the same thing, and they're putting pressure on us. And so all of that together,
And you have two clients in that case. You have a client where the realtor that's constantly sending you the business, and you have a buyer who potentially can refer you to other people. And, at some point in time, the two of them aren't on the same page, and sometimes it's in your interest to get them back on the same page.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we also have something else in common. You and your son, one of your sons, are in the mortgage industry together. So is my dad and I. And Sarah, are we going to get your dad on board working with us or what?
My dad just retired. He
sounds like a perfect biz dev.
He's bored.
Part-timer.
He's bored, and we grew up in South Florida. My dad lived in South Florida for the majority of my life, and he used to always see people that were a part of the chamber and part of things, and he had this this constant kind of wish, I guess, that he would at some point be one of those people that went in and just really worked the relationships and was a man about town, and everybody kind of went to him as like the people connector. And I say to him all the time, Dad, I'll take you on my team. You can come work with me, not for, and come be an extra layer of business development with me. And, I'll give you your own kind of territory. If you want to do Boca Chamber, we'll do it. And he kind of looks at me and he's like, I don't know if I can get back into the game. And I'm like, it would be great. My dad is similar to me because he's a workhorse. He's very dedicated to what he does. And he's the kind of person where, like, you go to talk to any kind of person that's managed him or been his boss, and they'll say he's the hardest worker we've ever had. If we give him a task or we give him an assignment or we give him something to do, we know it's going to get taken care of tenfold because Ed Dealey's got it. He's a little bit more quiet than me, but he's got this like savviness about him. I don't know. It would be cool. I'd love to have him come work with us. He's bored. I know he's bored. We just got to get him out of Texas.
That's why I don't quit.
Yeah.
What else would you do with life? They say if you don't grow, you die, right?
He's trying to figure it out. He volunteers a lot right now, and he's doing stuff with, different community centers and keeping himself busy. And he's got endless chores at his house. His house isn't that big, and it's not that old. And he's been doing chores for the 15 years that he's lived there, but he keeps popping up with new chores and new activities. So I guess for now, it's keeping him busy.
What do you like to do during your spare time, Rob? I know you're a workaholic like I am, but what do you do during your spare time?
My spare time, I'm always tinkering with some kind of electronics in the house. My house is fully electronic, so I'm a gadget person.
So you have kept up with technology.
I hear there's this unbelievable coffee maker at your house.
The shades I have, everything's electronic. Everything works off of Alexa. So it's crazy.
Now, do you read the instructions or someone set it up for you?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
No, a little bit of both. I'm good with it. Okay. I'm good with it. I like walking
Sarah,
around the house.
you good with that stuff?
No.
I can't tell you the last time I read instructions.
So where I actually thrive, where most people don't? I'm really good at putting together things that everybody hates. IKEA furniture, I am phenomenal at IKEA Furniture.
Not just IKEA. You are not patting yourself on the back enough. Sarah is responsible for putting together a lot of the furniture in our office.
That's true too.
she is a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
She's more than a pretty face.
Yeah. Thank you.
I wasn't.
welcome.
I'd be very careful with that today. I wasn't going to touch on that.
In our old office, I was in charge of hiring people and bringing them on and kind of setting up their desks and making sure that we were good. And on any given day, I was
Computers,
underneath and rewiring computers
IT.
and monitors and fixing desks and standing desks for this person and moving things around. And you learn as you go. When you're asked to do something, you just kind of jump in and figure it out.
Yeah, I'm not good at putting those things. I'm good with electronics. And then also, when I'm not working, I like to travel. I've been doing more traveling.
I've seen that.
So just got back from
He's a big cruise guy. You like the cruises, right?
I love the cruises. The cruises.
What's your favorite cruise line?
Celebrity.
Okay, why?
Because it's a great combination of good food, good accommodations, good stops along the way. And what I've learned, I could be watching, is that when you take like the inaugural,
Most likely. We're a highly viewed show right now.
when you take the inaugural cruise on Celebrity, usually the executives are there. And then you make friends with some of the executives on the ship. That's the best part.
I like that.
So, and Adam and I actually went on the first cruise out of Greece after the pandemic. And there were 700 people on a 3,500 person cruise ship.
So you guys had staff for
So we
each
had,
of you, like 7 people?
And back then, you can bid for some of the larger
Rooms and
suites.
stuff?
And since there were only 699 other people competing with me, I bid on the what they call the iconic suite.
I've heard of this suite.
So Adam and I walked into the suite. It was 1,700 square feet.
Wow.
And then our outside was 700 square feet was our own deck. We had a private deck with our own hot tub, which of course my son had to invite people back to our room and became the bartender himself because there was a full bar in our place.
That's my guy.
So just one story about that, if I can. So we were, the Sixers were playing in the playoffs, 3:00 in the morning, Greek time. And Adam told the butler, because we had a butler with this room, it was unbelievable. He told her, I want lobster, shrimp, oyster or something. And you can't do that. He goes, oh, Dad, yeah, it's included. The woman came up with a whole tray of lobster, and she cleaned out our refrigerator, and she put it all in there. And 3:00 in the morning, I hear him in the family room with our big screen TV. And he's sitting there with his legs up, with the lobster in front of him. And I'm thinking, this is really taking advantage.
I love it.
Oh,
was
good
great
for him.
memory.
He had a good time.
Yeah, it was
When you
great
go on
memory.
these cruises, do you gamble?
I'm not a gambler.
Oh, okay.
So I like, I always make it a mission, how many people am I going to meet on the cruise?
Got it.
Yeah.
And after a while, you ask about the cruise line. The reason I like the same cruise line is you get to know the people in the suite, the people that work there. And if you treat people
Oh,
well,
absolutely.
they remember you.
Absolutely.
It's not even about giving them tips, which everyone, tip them.
Just be
But
a nice person.
You'd be surprised how poor some of these people get treated on these cruises. So if you're just nice to them, they'll go out of your way. They'll bend over backwards just because you're genuinely nice.
Yeah. So I want your advice on this. So I just came back from Maine yesterday, and I was there for a meeting that my dad had set up with some local loan officers. They've been in the industry for 25 to 35 years, right? Similar story, but all still loan officers. And the overwhelming thing that we talked about was there were two things. One, the ability to reach someone to get a decision maker, as opposed to having endless levels of middle management, we'll call it. And number two was this concept of change. And I get that no one likes change, but, imagine yourself for a minute, 40 years, and imagine you don't work for Flagstar. I'm not saying that you wouldn't, but 40 years in the industry, how do we get to teach you something or to do something differently? Are you open to learning? How do I crack that attitude?
I think it's all about how their managers, if the manager's approachable or not. I'm not ashamed to admit there are some things that I didn't really know. And I have a new manager. And the old one was, Rich Hoffman is a great manager, and he got promoted, as a matter of fact. But I knew that there were some things that Lisa maybe had a little different style at that my manager didn't know. So I said to her, hey, I don't know how to do this, that, and the other thing. And next thing I know, she calls me on WebEx, and she's teaching me, because that different people are good at different things.
But you asked, is there anything that she asked you to learn and then you put a wall up or that made you, distant?
Well, not recently. And I guess because I'm aware of the changing landscape and my age, I'm just turned 65, that I better do everything I can to keep up with it. I can't say I've always been that open to learning those things, but I realize that I have to.
Well, I think the industry getting cut in half over the last couple of years is kind of all humbled, giving us all a little bit of that humble pie.
Yeah.
And
the margins are tighter.
Yeah.
The loans are fewer. And if you don't constantly reinvent yourself, you'll be out of work, to be blunt with you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, you see yourself how much different things have been since you got into the business and since you own this company now. And even though Sarah's role is a relatively new role for the industry and how she promotes business, and I think it's great.
It is.
Emmanuel likes to take credit for a lot of things. So
Whoa.
So my role
I
was
deserve credit for a lot of things, but I don't like to take credit for a lot of things.
It was his brainchild. And the fact that I have been successful at it, instead of me just being successful, it was him understanding my strengths and putting me in the best seat to make me succcessul.
See, that's
Isn't that what a great manager?
Well, no, that's a smart woman who makes you think that it was your idea.
Correct.
Okay. Touche.
I'm a team Sarah, man.
We have this little thing that we do in the office. I'm just kidding.
So don't give our secrets away.
No.
So it's we like to use a lot of psychology, obviously, and I can tell you do too. People just call it different things, but the idea is it's just sales. Being good at sales is understanding your end user, understanding what their needs are, and find a solution and provide.
Yeah, I don't even like the term sales, even though it's sales. It's,
problem solver.
Yeah, I know. Like some people say to me, "I'm horrible at sales," but every job, even whether you're a doctor or whether you're a lawyer, if you can't satisfy your customer, even if you don't see them that way, you're not going to be around.
Correct.
Well, in every conversation, someone is selling someone. Even the doctor is selling you on their expertise, on their problem-solving ability, their advice, whatever it is. But the bottom line is that there is a sale going on.
Even when you're out there dating, Iman, you're always selling.
Oh, he sure is. One thing, and I'll bring it back to employees before we go on his dating sales life.
Oh, boy.
Is
it hot in here?
If you understand where people are going to excel, and it's usually what they're good at naturally, they'll probably be a lot happier in that role because it's something that they are good at, and people like doing things that they do well at because it feels good. So understanding that quickly, I think, is important. But when you are able to extract that and then put them in the right spaces, you're going, okay, they'll probably work harder for me. They'll probably stay longer. They'll probably be happier doing this. It'll exude to other people that they're working with. And so it's kind of a home run for everybody.
Exactly.
Well, I think also it's all about being challenged. If there's a particular account for you in terms of, your space that you want to go get or that you haven't been able to get, it's that target that's on the wall. Same thing for Sarah. If there's a certain amount of closed business that she wants to have by the end of the month or whatever it is, we all, as salespeople, we all thrive on targets. And, some of us, I know for me, the more you tell me I can't do something, the more you're just lighting a fire for me to do it.
Yeah, and in our industry, where it's so sensitive to the dollar, and what's your price? What's your price? You have to do something that's going to differentiate yourself, and it doesn't mean you're going to win all the time. And you can't be sour when you don't win because then that person won't even look at you for price at that point.
Yeah.
But you have to make yourself valuable in some way, and it's obviously you only have so much control over your price.
So that's actually a great idea there, a great topic. So all right, so you get rejected. We'll use the word rejection. Someone is choosing an alternative, which is not really the same thing as being rejected, but possibly on price. So you've adapted to that a lot more, whereas I feel like loan officers get a little bit emotional regarding the fact that a client doesn't want to go with them, or a client is shopping them and decides to go with, Bank ABC or whatever it is. So what advice would you give to a loan officer to stay polite, stay friendly, wish them well, be available, in case it doesn't work out with the other bank, like that is what I would tell someone, but use your experience. Like
Well, I think the most important thing is with the realtor, with the referral source, more so even than the buyer. You could be nice to the buyer. Hopefully they come back if it doesn't work out. But
you want the referral source to come back.
referral source to be happy. So even if you're not getting the loans from that realtor and referring to somebody else, but always being there will be a point. Something will happen. I can guarantee it along the way where you have to rescue that realtor from something.
Yep. And
most people try to do the right thing. And if you rescue them out of that situation and you did it sincerely and try to help them and it wasn't about you making, even if you made nothing on the transaction, people will remember that.
Yeah.
I've had a situation with somebody recently where the loan didn't come to me. And there was an issue with the loan and the other investor didn't quite look at it the way we did. And we're able to purchase the loan that they could have lost a lot of money on. Now, I don't expect that customer of mine to be sending me all their business, but I know that I'll be getting a bunch of loans, even if I'm a little bit off in price, because they would have lost thousands of dollars.
Get them a solid.
Yeah.
So Adam talks about that prior to CRMs being CRMs, you have always been a birthday king, remembering all your clients and friends' birthdays and reaching out.
Yeah, I hate that Facebook has it on there because it kind of ruined it for me.
Now you feel like everybody's cheating.
Yeah, everyone's cheating.
Everyone's got a leg up.
But the best part is, I'll tell you the best part is when somebody doesn't have their thing on Facebook.
And you know it.
And I go to their Facebook and I put it on there, happy birthday, so-and-so.
And they're like,
so how do they know? How'd you know? Or I'll call them on the phone and I'll start singing happy birthday to them. And I think it makes an impact because they would try to hide it and they can't. I have it. Somehow in the conversation I find out when the birthday is, and I do use the technology to my advantage. It's I have an app for birthdays, but it's not something that I ask. I'll come across somebody will say, yeah, I'm turning like 50 next week. I'll say, yeah, what date? And they'll casually answer me without realizing that I'm now
dropping it in there.
But I've always done it, and there's a reason why I've always done it. It's not even business related. My mother had a friend named Helene, and every year she would always send me a birthday card. And I asked her about it. And this is before it was all manual. She sent everyone birthday cards. And I thought this was like the coolest thing from the time I was a little kid. So I always made it my thing to do what she was doing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so.
Have you done any video texts?
For the birthdays, have I ever done it? Yeah, I've done a couple. It's not something I normally
You're not
do.
into it yet. It's not. It's not commonplace. For you.
Yeah. I'll call somebody on a video chat and start singing happy birthday to them.
So we do two things. So one, I heard this on someone else's podcast and I thought it was a great idea. And then we experienced something when Sarah and I went to a friend's birthday. So the first thing that I thought was really cool is that you call the day before. So you have your CRM set you that if Rob's birthday is Friday, it would notify me on Thursday that it's the day before your birthday. And the concept is for me to call you on the day before your birthday and say, hey, Rob, I want to just tell you I love you. Great to see you. I know it's your birthday's tomorrow and you're going to get inundated with calls, texts, and emails. And I wanted to be the first to let you know happy birthday.
I've done that where I know the person gets somebody like that. But also, somebody like that, I might even text them at 12:01.
Just to be the first as well.
Just to be the first one.
So I thought the day before, I love that idea. I think it's a great idea. Anyone who wants to steal it, I stole it from someone else. But we were at a birthday one time, and this is a gentleman named Jared, and really nice guy, but I didn't know him that well. And we went out of our way to go to his birthday in West Palm. And I thought it was, the next day or 2 days later, whatever, I think it was like a Friday and maybe the Monday or something like that. A day or two later, I get a video text. And I'm like, oh, what's this? And it was a personalized video text that he had sent out that basically said, hey, I just wanted to, thank you, Emmanuel. Like you could tell, like it wasn't, you had to do them for everybody.
Yeah.
It really meant a lot to me that, it was like a 30-second little video text. And I was so, for two reasons. One, from a sentimental standpoint, I thought it was really nice. Number two, my head goes straight to business, and I go, "Ooh, this is great!
Shocker.
What a great way to be, to be memorable." Because at the end of the day, in any sales field, You want to be memorable. You want to be remembered for doing something different, unique. This doesn't cost you any money to be memorable, right? It takes 30 seconds of your time. The person doesn't care if your hair is perfect. Don't use filters, you filter people, and just be normal. And I think just be sincere. And I thought it was such an awesome thing. So I told all of our loan officers to do it. I don't think anybody does it.
Okay, I'll give you another idea.
I do birthdays.
You're doing video text?
Not always. I do a mix. I keep it nice and fluid. The text, videos, emails, calls.
You're not doing the day before, though. That's too good of an idea.
I don't do the day before, no.
I don't either, by the way.
My friend Bob.
I don't always follow my own advice. I'm great at advice. It just doesn't mean I follow it.
So I'll give you another idea. So my friend Bob, he actually coined the name current event marketing.
Okay.
And this makes you really stand out because a birthday is a fixed thing. So Bob also is from Boston area, and he
Makes
loves
sense.
For instance, if the Celtics get lucky and
Are
win,
we putting Sarah to sleep? Did you just see her yawn?
Sorry.
For those of you who are not watching, Sarah just had a full-blown yawn.
It's the rain.
It is 4:30 in the afternoon.
It's the rain. It's been raining so hard all day. It's like black outside.
Rob, this is a first. You're the first guest that she has yawned at.
Well, it's sports.
You have to
But it's
feel
not about the
special.
sports.
No, I love sports. It's
not
the
about
rain.
the
It's
sports.
totally not you.
But it's not
It's
about
probably
the-
Emmanuel,
it's
and
Not
it's
you,
the
it's
rain.
me. Yeah, good one.
but it could be about anything. It could be about, an actor, but something comes up in the news that relates to something in the past of that person. And I maybe haven't spoken to him in a year. And I'll remember to call that person who I know likes, whether it's a musician, whether it's a sports team or something, whether it's even a politician that they like, or if it was anything to do with a memory I have with them, I'll call them and they'll say, I can't believe I saw that in the news. He says, and I knew you were going to call me. So it's called current event marketing.
That's kind of crazy. I love that.
So it's about knowing your customer as a friend.
Yeah.
And it's not just your customer, it's people in your life. And it'll remind me to call them. Something comes up in the news. I have to think about an example, but my friend Bob will get a phone call if the Celtics win. And he'll get a better phone call if they lose.
I get phone calls. I get the same thing. I think you've called me on every championship we've won. God knows how many phone calls it is. It feels like a lot. But
I also called you after the Eagles beat you, but that's okay.
So I don't know if you caught this, right? And so, all right. So backstory, my mom goes to me the other day. I forget what I said. I made some sort of comment, said something. She's like, that sounds just like Kirk. And Kirk is my adopted dad. So he's not my biological dad, but he's who I call my dad. And he, obviously through, there's nature and there's nurture. And there's a lot of growing up together, picking up on different things. And I don't know if you've noticed while we've been sitting here, but Rob and Adam were doing the exact same thing. They keep tapping their chair. And so I remember, I had told Adam, I'm like, stop that, because the microphone picks up every time you hit smack. And so, the second that you started doing it, I was like, the only two people who have done that are Rob and Adam, father and son.
It's a
so I just
Kofsky
thought,
thing.
It is, but isn't it funny? You
cute.
pick up on those little idiosyncrasies that we pick up from our parents.
My girlfriend, when I met her mother, she had some of the same ways of, speaking, or there's certain things that are just idiosyncrasies you pick up from family.
Yeah.
What, do you have anything from your family?
I don't know that the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head without spending too much time on it is my mom. Her laugh was one of those real contagious laughs. And when she would get going laughing, she could continue laughing based on her own laughing. And she always did this lingering, at the end. And I notice that I do that sometimes. So I have that little laugh tail end song, I guess. And then my dad, when he gets serious, he bites the inside of his lip, and that means business, that you're coming to the end of your rope with him. And I've noticed with my kids, sometimes I'll catch the lip bite and I'm like, oof, I got the
Yeah,
look.
but think about that for a minute. What it tells you is that even though generations pass and people we never met are not here, it's really true that you carry a little bit of them with
Something. Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So, little piece of advice. Give Sarah some advice. Parental advice.
Okay.
I don't have any kids. My dog is perfect. So the only advice is for Sarah and her 2 kids in terms of career choices to go in this industry. I don't know. Anything you want. Just some sort of parental
I think you just have to be
advice.
supportive because I have 2 boys and they're both way different. You know Adam and you've met Brian. And I think you have to try to encourage them for what their talents are. You can't try to make them who you are.
Yeah.
I think, I got into my father was in the real estate business, but not in the real estate business the way you look at it. He had rental properties and apartments. And I swore I wasn't going to have anything to do with real estate. But some of it rubbed off. And I went into the finance part of the business, which wasn't where my dad was. So,
Right.
so I think the key is supporting your siblings to their talents and not make them like you.
Yeah.
Based on when the boys were kids, did you have any idea that either of them would get into this industry?
I knew Adam had the personality for it. Brian is more of a techie guy he always was. So and that doesn't surprise me that Adam's in the business. I didn't push him to do it.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I remember when Adam was, before he started, or he was just about to start, and Rob was in our office. He's like, because he wanted to make sure that he was trying to make sure that he wasn't hurting our feelings, that he didn't recommend Adam come work with us. Mm-hmm. And we still aren't the kind of shop that is conducive to someone who has no clue what they're doing that's brand new.
Correct.
And he went to a larger institution and worked well, and he honed in on his craft, and now he's doing awesome for us, and we love having him here. But I remember when he started, because I remember that conversation.
You have to let them you have to let your kids find their way, and be available when they ask for your guidance.
Yeah, yeah. I think my dad did a really good job of that. I'm the oldest. I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and I was out of the house.
We can tell.
I was out of the house pretty early on, at 17. So I kind of paved my own way and was an adult pretty early on.
17.
Yeah,
Not
17.
Me too.
17. And my dad, my dad kind of said to me, and I think this is the way his parents parented, like, I'm here for you, but when you move out, you're kind of on your own and you're going to figure it out. And, you'll fall many times and, we're always here, but the idea is not that we're catching you all the time. You're kind of catching yourself and then figuring it out from there. And so from a very young adult age, my dad turned from daddy to more friend consultant type relationship. And I would say in my 20s, I didn't appreciate it as much because I wanted a net and I wanted much more catching. But as I look back, the fact that he didn't do those things, and I had to kind of figure it out for myself, but also I knew that I could trust him with things when I would go to him to ask him advice or ask him what he thought about something or get his opinion. I knew that he was very well versed in business. I knew that he was successful on his own. I knew that he had created all that for himself. And so I trusted what he had to say because I knew he had done it. And so I enjoyed that part of our relationship. And as I got older and fell a lot less and had to catch myself a lot less, and was able to kind of keep myself up more, going to him to ask him about stuff and letting him lead me as more of a friend consultant, just wiser, older, more years of doing it, became a safety net for me without him having to bail me out. It was more just a trusted, reliable place that I could go. And ultimately he really kind of helped me do a lot of the bigger moves that I've made in my career. And it was because of the conversations that we had and the back and forth. And, I love that. So if I could do that for my kids, that I think would be tremendous. Because
And they're more receptive when they get older too. When you're younger, it's a different relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what my boys are 33 and 36 now. And you could do things on a friendly basis.
Yeah.
Because you're not dictating to them.
Exactly.
And then hopefully some things rub off. My favorite thing with Adam, one time we were debating something. And I looked at him, I said, "Hey, Adam," I think he was like 25 or something. He said to me, I said, "Let me ask you a question. Do you think you'll know more 30 years from now than you know now?" He goes, "Of course." And I looked at him and said, "That's me."
That's so perfect.
I actually think Sarah's daughter is going to come work for us. She's very into money. Nothing wrong with that, but what's the legal age for in Florida?
I think it's 15.
How old's your daughter?
She's 10.
15 to start working?
To get paid legally, I think.
Oh.
I mean, you can volunteer.
But if she works for you, it's fine. Right? So if like you pay her, not me type thing?
So we're paying her out of my salary?
Well, I was just thinking, I mean, I know I started working at 13. I was a year under the
But you were in
legal
Canada,
age.
yeah, during that time?
No, I was in the U.S. I got to the U.S. when I was 7.
Oh.
Actually, not even 7. 6. I think, yeah, it was 6.
It was a while ago.
Yes, 1985.
Oh. Oof, I was barely even out of diapers.
No, not really, but they kept you in diapers that long, did they?
Then they set me free right away.
Yeah.
They're like, you're out of
Straight
these
from diapers
we're
to
done.
on your own.
Yeah, we've done our job. No, Julia's she likes a sense of, she's the oldest too, so she likes a sense of being in control and being in a powerful position. She likes money. She sees that money can buy the things that she wants. She likes that aspect of it.
So can she put off a purchase to get more money, to get something better, or does she want to spend it right away?
No, she'll put it off. And also,
that's intelligent. That's a sign of intelligence.
Yes, and also she's developed these little companies that she has. She created these little squishy things. Because everybody's into fidgets and these sensory things. So she started making these sensory stuffed papers with stuffing, and she decorated them and made Taylor Swift decoration ones and ones for boys, and then she was selling them on the bus. And then the bus driver told her she couldn't sell stuff on the bus anymore. So then she told him that she was gonna have a lemonade stand on a certain day, and the squishies would be sold at the lemonade stand. So it was no longer on the bus. And then I had a conversation with her. I said, well, where are the supplies coming from for the orders that you're taking? And how are we doing that? And she's like, well, you're going to go buy them. I was like, no, I'm not. You're going to take the money that you took from the sales, and we're going to go buy them together. And we'll then have to figure out how much to sell them for and what you're making. And she kind of looked at me and she was like, I love this. Most 10-year-olds, I would think, would get really bored with that conversation. She loved the idea of it.
Did you tell her about the mommy tax? So you take a piece of the...
Well, I said, there's gas that is going to cost me to take you to the store and my time. And she kind of looked at me and she's like, Mom, right now I'm so young. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Does she get an allowance?
So this summer she's going to start getting in her allowance. I got them little kid debit cards.
Okay.
And so it's all app related now. Like when I was a kid, it was a chart. But
a chart?
Like a chart when I was a kid, there was no apps. I am that old.
Yeah, I get it, but why would you have a chart? Isn't it just like the same amount of money every month?
No. So if you make your bed, it's 25 cents a day. If you vacuum empty the dishwasher,
gotcha. Okay, so this isn't an allowance. It's a negotiation.
It's an allowance, but you don't just get an allowance to live. You get an allowance to do things, chores.
So I saw this video, or maybe it was a podcast, wherever I grabbed stuff from, that I thought was absolutely genius, that if I have kids someday, I will 100% implore, which is whatever you give your kids in the form of an allowance, 50% they get to spend. They get to spend right away. No, 25% they have to save, and then the other 25% they have to give away to someone else. They have to spend the money on someone that they're giving something to.
I think that's a good way of doing it. Why don't you start with, you can give 25% of what you make to me and Sarah.
There we go.
Well, so yeah,
practice.
we were going to start that. We're going to call it the gift tax, and then the savings tax, and cut our employee expenses down quite a bit. But I don't think it would take too well. I think that everybody wants their check on Friday. I
think Julia would actually like that. She likes doing community type stuff. So if I said to her, you'll make $5 a week, whatever we end up with. And, you take...
Inflation is rough. $5, Sarah?
Is that a lot?
That's nothing. What are you going to do with $5? That's like a Coke.
She's not buying her own Coke. So...
What do they get, like quarter per tooth?
No, they get $2 per tooth. So I got $5. That's why I said $5. I don't know what the allowance is these days. I'll Google it. But the point is, Emmanuel, is that she can keep half, and then the other half can go to a savings, and then, a quarter can go to the savings, and the other quarter can go to something that she feels.
Do you see that I gave her parental advice?
He does this all the time, and then relates it to his puppy, who does not speak,
Boo-boo
can be
does-
left home
Boo-
alone,
Boo-boo does
eats
not
out of a
have an
bowl on the
allowance.
ground, does not talk back, all kinds of stuff.
A lot of it's the same, though. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Not going to grow up and be a part of society as a reflection of you.
No. So, all right, Rob.
I'm trying to keep that to myself. Yeah, I
Yes.
understand.
All right, let's wrap it up. Awesome having you here. What is I don't know, what's your career look like from here on out?
You know, it's interesting. I'm not looking to climb the ladder at this stage. I just would like to service customers I have, add a few that I'm going to enjoy being with. And it's about having fun in the job. It's not that it wasn't always about that, but I think my aspirations are probably different than yours.
Yeah.
I like to hold on to the customers I have, continue to grow those relationships, and add a couple new ones to make it fun for myself.
Do you take a little more personal time, a little more vacation, travel? Do you try to enjoy life a little bit more or no?
I do. I have more time. So my girlfriend said to me when she realized how much I used to work, she said to me, "Oh, I couldn't have dealt with you back then." 'Cause, like, you know, I was working, like, I would wake up, I would actually leave the house 9:30 and get home 9:30 at night, do paperwork till 11.
Right.
And it's not the best for a home life, as you know. But I'd say, without sounding like I'm not working, I am spending a little more time focusing on that.
Well, I think, I mean, you've paid your dues and you've done the time and you're in a place that you can kind of, work normal hours.
But yeah, it's
40,
nice.
45, maybe 50.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're always available.
What?
You're always available. In this
Absolutely.
business, you're always available.
Is that our 50 hours? Is that our new part-time?
Yeah. I mean, there's no
That's a
such thing as
part-time role.
there's no such thing as 9 to 5 if you're in any kind of supporting role.
If you're in any kind of sales or relationship role in general, it's not nine. It's not. It never will be.
No. And at the point where you're thinking it is, that's when you should get out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Somebody
Absolutely.
calls me 9 o'clock. I don't say, "Why are you calling me so late?" I know you're calling me because there's a problem. That's why you're calling me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've even been out of the country and I've had my laptop with me, and the idea is not to sit at a desk in the hotel room while I'm there the whole time to be on my laptop. But if I need to jump on and attack something, or if my phone needs to be, it just has to get done. It's just part of it.
If I'm on a cruise ship, like every 3 hours, I'm checking that
Absolutely.
thing. I'm not, even if I'm on vacation, I'm not on vacation.
Right.
Because nobody's going to handle that situation the way you personally will.
So I'm laughing because, not laughing too loud, but laughing because we're all salespeople and none of us are employees. And because of that, like, we all think this way.
Yes.
But not, there's a whole other 50% of the population they're all like, what's wrong with these guys? You're married to your job or whatever it is,
But I'm committed to the people that I have relationships with, and I've taken a really long time to build those relationships, and so to lose that is more detrimental to me. It's not I want to prove to my my boss that I can work overtime. It's I worked really hard to get their trust, and they're
it's not considered overtime.
right.
It's not considered overtime.
So like I want to keep those, and I want to show them that I'm here for them because that's what I sell. And that's on me. That's not has nothing to do with you.
It's kind of, my girlfriend calls them Holocaust survivors. That's what she does. She's a social worker.
Wow.
When there's a problem or somebody's sick, it's not 9 to 5. If there's an emergency,
You have to go.
she has to take care of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was just listening about someone named, I think his name is Viktor Frankl. Are you familiar with that story? Yeah. So he's a Holocaust survivor. Then when he and his wife arrived at Auschwitz, she was murdered right away, and he decided to throw his ring off and get rid of it right away. And the way that he survived, and apparently wrote a really famous book. I'll find out what the name of the book is. But his whole story was that he right away started future living, and he started while everyone else was in the moment, which is obviously incredible circumstance of despair, and most people wanted to die right away. He's thinking about his life, and I want to write a book, and I'm going to do this, and all the future casting was what was allowing him to survive in that moment. Anyways, I just thought it was absolutely crazy, and I can't imagine, what she does and deals.
Pretty spectacular. Some of these people,
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the stories that we just went to a 99th birthday party from somebody, and they, to be able to live.
Are they able to talk about it or no?
Some can, most can't, some can, but and some of them actually write it all out, depending on the people.
Yeah.
It really depends on the person. I would say most can't.
Yeah.
That's where Steven Spielberg did that movie. He did a video of every survivor he could find and got their story. And a lot of them didn't want to talk, but they spoke to him. So it's on record.
That's pretty cool because then we'll have it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, on a more positive note, thank you so much for coming on the show and being with us and spending some time and
Is this a one-time deal, or I'll get invited back?
giving us a little bit of wisdom.
I thought this was like
Maybe
a
we'll
weekly
do
thing.
a Kofsky off. We'll have both of you back on.
Yeah, I thought this was like a weekly thing we were going to start doing.
I can't have
I thought
two,
next
that's
week
too
is-
many Philly people in one room.
I thought we were going to do a sports talk next week.
I'll sit out. It'll be the three boys, Kofsky, and St. Germain.
You know, Sarah, I'm not trying to be sexist, but we have to have somebody pretty on the show. You know, and certainly
It's time for Emmanuel to go.
I appreciate you not calling me pretty, Rob. That works for both of us. So, but again, thanks so much, my friend.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's enough whining for one day. We are so happy that you could join us today on Stop Whining About Real Estate. So please, not only listen, but subscribe, follow us, download, share, and if you're feeling it, give us a 5-star review. Hey, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email stopwhining@choicemortgage.com. Thanks so much.